Ever since Gamergate 2 started, there has been a lot of division over topics like censorship and narrative consultation companies. And just a few days ago, we saw farm folks bend the knee and apologize to activists who were upset that they dared to ask their community about what level of jiggle physics we'd like to see in the game. And now Kotaku's own Alyssa Mercante is putting out an article blaming us as gamers for this situation. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, Alyssa has been very vocal about Gamergate 2 and everybody who she thinks is on the wrong side of Gamergate 2, and of course she was the individual who put up the article titled "Sweet Babying Doesn't Do What You Think It Does," when that is definitely a lie. They do exactly what we believe they do, and now she's decided to put up this article attacking us for the situation surrounding farm folks. It says on April 29th, an in-development farm sim called Farm Folks shared a now-deleted post about breast jiggle physics on its official X/Twitter account that kickstarted a firestorm, emboldened gaming's baddest actors, and wreaked havoc in the game's official Discord. Yes, I will completely agree with her. It did embolden gaming's baddest actors, the activists within the industry, because do you want to know who kickstarted this firestorm, as she calls it? Black girl gamers. Their PR individual, the person who runs their social media, decided to make tweets and posts like this saying, "This ain't it." As you can imagine, boobs are sensitive subjects, especially since women have been subject to a lot of vitriol in gaming lately, and the latest discourse regarding sexualization of characters, and they demanded that they change it and that they take down the post about breast jiggle physics, which of course was absurd. But yeah, the bad actors in gaming were emboldened, the activists who don't care about this industry and don't care about good products. They simply care about their narrative being pushed and being the center of attention. I think it is perfectly fine to ask the community what level of jiggle physics they want, because newsflash, breasts jiggle in real life. Breasts are not flat, motionless objects, and of course, as a woman, I think that it is great that developers are trying their very best to put things as simple as jiggle physics into games, because again, that is realistic. But of course, groups like Black Girl Gamers said this ain't it, and they were offended by it. So going back to the article, it talks about how, of course, the team behind the studio has since apologized, but the aftermath lingers, leaving confusion and doubt about the company's true intentions. In its wake, I simply think that the company wanted to ask their community for feedback, given this is a kickstarted game, and given that they simply have a business model that revolves around asking their community members questions. I don't think that it's some big, massive issue, and they shouldn't have had to apologize. They did ultimately, yes, bend the knee and talked about how they were so sorry and how bad they felt for anybody they upset and how inappropriate their post was, but it wasn't any of those things. So I, of course, have lost a bit of respect for this company, and of course I had no respect for Alyssa and journos like this. She also says that she spoke to the CEO about the post, jiggle physics, bad actors, and more to try and paint a clearer picture. Basically, she reached out for an interview to try to catch whoever was going to do the interview in a gotcha moment, because that is what people like her do. They go into interviews and go, "Can you clarify your stance a little bit?" And then, of course, if that person says anything they don't like, they grab onto it, they'll write a bunch more articles, and they will continuously attack them. The farm folks breast physics situation is not a controversy. It should not be a controversy. And to try to label it as a controversy just goes to show that people like this feed off of the controversy that they are creating. That is all they want because they know it's going to get them more clicks. They know it's going to get them more attention. But it was not a controversy, and most people on the initial post had agreed this is perfectly fine. Don't bend the knee. And what did the company do? They bent the knee. Now, of course, like I always say, I'm willing to give companies multiple chances, but now I don't think that I'm going to give farm folks or these devs any kind of money because they have decided to go on and talk about nasty people that this post attracted. We don't want vulgarity because, like, it can be fun, it can be a little bit goofy, it can be memey, but we're not going to go after it like over-sexualization goofiness in the ways of Conan Exiles, where you can, like, modify penises and things like that. Baldur's Gate 3. We've listened to our community. We heard that sometimes we talk about like implementing jiggle physics, right? Which again, we obviously have tons of settings for any kind of physics, like for different body parts. We can do soft spots for like the butt. We can do it for the chest, shoulders, anything. But to answer your question, no, we don't want to attract nasty people. We don't want those. We have some limits, like as much as we want to give it, but it's so controversial. I want the player to choose how they want their character to look, like if you want, for example, the breasts to have a little more movement or not. But again, it's not like you're going to scroll the physics slider up and then this is just going to be all over the place and it's goofy. We're definitely not tailoring our game for little kids. We want to spice it up for people to have action and to have fun. But again, this is the problem, calling people nasty actors simply for saying you shouldn't bend the knee to activists, you shouldn't ultimately listen to outside interference when it comes to your game. You should do what you feel is the best option and the best move for your game, and you should actually listen to your community. And instead of simply saying the rest, like, oh, we want players to choose their own, character customization, and we want to give them as many options as possible, they say that by having a, dramatic slider, that would draw in and attract nasty people. So I think a lot of individuals now, a lot of gamers will no longer be particularly interested in supporting this game. But of course, Alyssa over the past few weeks has been obsessed with Mark Kern, and she just couldn't help but bring him up in this. I asked how he felt about some people, Kern included, saying that farm folks will miss out on support from because of its apology, and he said, F that, I don't care what he thinks. I'm apologizing for structuring it badly. If we were to rewind the times, we would skip that. No, you would only skip that because it faced backlash and because you want the Kotakus and the Polygons to cover your game, because you want the gamers to highlight it on their front page, not because you actually feel bad. And that's what's so pathetic about this situation. Going into an interview, trashing someone like Mark Kern, and of course, licking the boots of the mainstream, very irrelevant gaming media. Alyssa has shown to be, in my opinion, pretty obsessed with Mark Kern because someone recently claimed to be upping the bounty on his head to 50k, and of course some people think that those posts are jokes, while others don't. But Alyssa was tweeting to this person, oh my god, DM me, let's talk, and an editor at a publication like Kotaku, irrelevant or not, should not be doing this. And of course, if a normal person said something like this, they'd get fired from their job. So we'll see if Alyssa issues a statement for promoting violence, but I highly doubt she'll face any repercussions on that front. But she's been defaming Mark for weeks at this point, especially since the Stellar Blade petition went up, and it's just so sad to see a developer, and of course in this case a CEO, come out and just attack anybody for, again, not being on the side of an outlet like Kotaku, saying, F that, I don't care what these people think. You should, because we are the only people who would have bought your game after that initial post, because now you've got the activists and their followers, like Kotaku stans, who won't buy this game because you dared to post about the jiggle physics, you dared to ask the question, and they will go, well, I would have supported your game, but since you posted that, it doesn't matter if you delete it or not, you were still thinking it, and you were still posting it, so I'm gonna hold off. So all you've really done is made it so that you are in a lose-lose situation. You have not brought in any new followers, you have only really gotten the attention of the irrelevant media. And when you bend the knee to narrative consultation companies and the people who work at them, like black girl gamers, you're definitely not in for a very successful game launch. It is very unfortunate to see this happen. Alyssa, of course, yet again, write another article that simply is meant to trash gamers and the very people who would have been interested in this game. But of course, I will be keeping my eye on this. I do not think the Farm Folks CEO or any of the devs are going to say anything else about the situation. I think they're praying it fades into oblivion and nobody talks about it after this article and this interview, but I don't really know if that's gonna happen because now they've brought even more negative attention to their game. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.